What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG.
And I'm NB.
And we are recapping and reviewing You on Lifetime.
You on Lifetime, because you can't just call it You.
Because it's unsearchable.
Yeah, Google doesn't like just You. So
this is season
You
1.
On Lifetime.
You on Lifetime, season 1, episode 2. And it's called The Last Man in New York, I think.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go through the episode and
Yeah. And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending because we are going to go through our recap roundups. So our best moments, our MVPs, our LVPs of the episode. So be sure to stick around for that. And let's get right in it.
Let's do this.
Like right in it. You?
You? So what did you think of this episode just off the top?
I liked it. I am loving the series so far.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much I love it. I love the book. I couldn't put down the book. So I was really like hyped that like the show was going to be the same pace.
Yeah.
I'm loving it so far.
So we did find out that it's getting released on Netflix like in November.
Yeah.
Which is kind of exciting, but I wonder if they're going to release it all at the same time.
I think it's, I don't know actually, but I think it's being released outside of the US on Netflix.
Oh,
so
okay.
in the US, you can only watch it on Lifetime. Outside of the US, you can see it on Netflix.
I hope that they're going to
and then eventually I'm sure they'll I really hope the Netflix version is going to be uncensored because these swear words I can't, like, they're muted.
Benji is getting so angry in this box.
It's okay.
And
he's like, oh no,
blurred out. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. So let's get into it. So this episode, there's some main things that we're going to just talk about just off the top in terms of plot points. Joe and Beck go on a date.
Oh my god, so cute.
Yeah,
he's like so happy.
They go to a party, and also he kind of low-key saves her from her professor.
Right.
So that's their interaction. And then we can talk about Beck and her professor.
Right.
And we can talk about Paco.
Paco, Pete. We gotta talk about everyone.
We gotta talk about everybody.
So let's start from the beginning.
So Joe is excited because he's
got
about to get a date with his girl.
Beckalicious.
Beckalicious. And he does mention Candace. Once again, he mentions Candace, which at this point we're assuming is we're like, who's Candace though? His girl. I mean, we know, but yeah, the audience now knows that this is his ex-girlfriend.
Right.
And we also meet somebody from Candace's past later on in the episode, so we'll talk about that too. But he mentions it in the beginning of the episode. He's so excited. He's literally dancing all around. He's like lit. Yeah. He's so lit. I feel like here's the thing. In this moment,
no, because I know what you're gonna say.
I'm already looking at Envy, and she's like, "Don't even start with me."
Because like I know they're trying so hard to make him so cute and like so like charming. I know. I can't say it now because like it's gonna spoil it.
But that's the thing, like
he is cute. He is cute.
Socially awkward loser.
Yes.
Right? And he gets excited and giddy about the dumbest things. And
what we all get excited about, probably.
Sure.
For sure.
But that's what I mean. Like, do you not find any level of relatability currently?
I'm gonna say this right now, and I'm gonna be very blunt.
Oh God.
If it wasn't Penn Badgley playing this character, it would make it really bad for me because he's attractive and he's very cute. Like, I can see, I know it sounds so superficial, but like I can see beyond that a little bit. Sure. But if he was some like weird looking, like creepy guy, it would be so hard. But fair. You're right. Like he is cute because like he is cute. Like he's very cute.
You don't think anything about his personality is endearing at this point though?
No.
A
little, maybe a little.
Here's
the
thing, and this is a little bit of background.
Yeah,
I was watching the, I guess, cast conversation and how they tried to build these characters up from the book, and even Penn Badgley had a problem or had an issue liking playing
Here's
Joe.
My issue, and this is my issue, and I said this before too. I don't like Beck. I don't like Beck. Like, like there was so many times in the book where I was like, Joe, you deserve so much better. Like, I know like he's a psychopath, but I'm like, you deserve better too because she's a loser too. Like she does like so many mean things to him that I'm like, he doesn't. Like he deserves better. I know not better, but like you know what I mean. But like that too. So I'm like I'm not even buying like his excitement for her because like she's a loser too. I don't know. You know?
I honestly want to know what you guys think. Comment below on this video because I think we should do like a poll. Do you like Joe Goldberg right now?
Yeah. Do you like him right now? You're falling for him?
No. Here's the thing.
You're like, yo, don't push it.
No, not at all. I don't think that I'm falling for him, but I think that like just listening to some of the interviews and seeing how they tried to position it, there's a lot of good points when it comes to someone being infatuated with other people. And I think that when you really think, like Shay Mitchell says it in an interview, she says, when you really think of it on a like on a wider scope, when you take a step back, him being obsessive about
for
her
sure, and wanting to know
crazy.
everything about her.
But wanting to know about someone, wanting to learn about somebody and their ins and outs, and loving someone. And it's not like and here's the thing, yes, he does go a little insane and like breaks into her apartment the last episode, and he like steals her phone. Okay, like I'm sorry, I'm like listing all these crazy underwear. Steals her underwear, but there's a lot of these things that, just wanting to get to know somebody, and a lot of her information is public. He's painted this picture of her that is like very like beautiful, and he loves her, and he loves this aspect of her. And as he gets intertwined in her story, when he starts to like, obsess over her a little bit more, yes, it gets very crazy and very insane. But he just wants to get to know her. He just wants to like love her. Okay,
So yeah, you're right.
Like rebuttal. Okay, go.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I agree. But, and like what you're saying, I think he makes a lot of good points. He really does. Like in his voiceovers, like the way he analyzes her, he analyzes Benji, especially in this episode. Like he books all these things that are so true about people our age today. Yeah. And the bullshit that people present online, like for sure, he books all of that, and I love that. But like, he's crazy too. So
of course. I think in so many ways, Joe is such a character that represents
the extreme,
the other side, like the other side of society, right? He's like he's the product of something that is what society's created, essentially,
Yeah, for sure.
So that's just I think the social commentary around it.
Okay, so basically they have their date. They go on their date.
Right.
They're walking cute, whatever.
Yeah.
And then at this point, Benji has been missing.
Benji's been missing.
From what we know from last episode, he's got him in that bunker underground.
Right.
So, but Benji's missing on social media.
And she gets herself a new phone, but he's still connected to her old phone.
Her
so
cloud.
That's like the one thing.
When they did this in the book, I had the biggest eye roll. I was like, okay, guys, like this one, because I think what happens is like she calls her mom, and the mom's like, I'll keep paying for your phone bill, and like not telling her that like she lost her original phone, so like they're paying for like 2 bills basically. I was like, bro, who would do that? Like that's so stupid.
Like, I just love that the writer had to actually
like they had to do that,
which is funny, but yeah.
So he has access to everything.
He has access to her cloud or whatever.
Everything's open.
Yeah, and so she finds out through, like, you also find out through her texts and stuff that she's worried about Benji, but Peach is like, F that guy, he's a loser. And so it shows them having dinner, or no, lunch, I guess, all together as a group, as a foursome. And Peach announces that she's having her like Salinger party because like that's
her parents divorced, so like
so
divorced. Like she needs to have a party for it.
She's like, I need it because like it makes me not think about it all the time. I love Shay Mitchell in this role. I can't with her. Like, she's just so good in it.
What do you mean in this role? I feel like that's who she is. Like, not who she is, but like she plays this role.
No, but I think that
she can't play anyone else.
I just feel like it is very different from who she was on PLL. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I definitely think she's a lot more activated in this role. I just think that she's
the way you use activated, like as if she's a fucking like
she
medication.
She wasn't doing anything in the last shows. This one, I think that she's definitely like more active.
She's just that spoiled rich girl, like the extreme of that for sure.
But also the best friend of like
very concerned best friend.
And you know, she's like, it's like you said last podcast, like she's the other side to Joe.
Right.
She, like, you know, while Joe's pushing in, like Peach is pushing in.
Yeah.
And she's probably just as obsessed.
Yeah.
And as needy
for sure.
Which I'm sure you'll see as the season goes on.
And what does that tell you about Beck, right? That like she's open to these types of people that like need her this much.
And it's funny because she does say this episode, she says like, I don't know why, it just seems to like I seem to attract a lot of crazy people or crazy guys. That's true. And he's like,
he's like, right?
Me too. So really quickly, let's talk about Paco, because he comes in the beginning of the story where he's like, I need a new book, please. So he gets him Frankenstein.
Right.
And there's obviously, so as we mentioned last episode, Paco is not a character at all in the book. And they definitely added his layer in to show, I guess, a little bit more humanity. But also at the same time, I think every book that Paco gets now, we're realizing, has a layer
some sort of meaning
or story
to his background, to Joel's background for sure. And I think when you look at Paco as a child, I think whatever happened to Joe as a child definitely made him who he is today.
Yeah.
So I think you have to like it allows us to kind of go back and see who he was as this kid, you know, and what he's had to deal with, like the demons that he's had to deal with.
Right.
So
yeah, for Paco to get Frankenstein.
Are we for sure that it wasn't in the book? Can someone comment and let us know that for sure? I don't think it was in the book.
99.9%.
Yeah, I don't think Paco was in the book.
Just because I'm like this, it was very specific that he gives him Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And like it's weird that like in the book he'd be like, and then I give my neighbor's son a book on Frankenstein. Like,
I don't know.
It just
if you guys know for sure, let us know. Comment below.
So he gets the book Frankenstein. Frankenstein obviously is like the metaphor between like he's a monster, but he's not a monster. But he was created a monster based on society.
Made him a monster,
right? Which is exactly what I basically said. So I win. And Paco's character also is the one in this story that is kind of playing with fire a little bit. So as we know, Benji's been downstairs in the soundproof basement. So not only is the box relatively soundproof, the whole basement is soundproof, which is explained in the books a little bit more. But yeah, apparently like Mr. Moody like spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars on making sure this area was like quiet. It really doesn't make any sense when you think about it.
Because he would read down there.
But it's stupid.
So dumb.
So stupid. Like just put in earplugs. I don't like what the hell. So he soundproofed the basement, and so no one can hear him from up top. Because Ethan is in the book he's like a stoner kind of like lame employee
clerk,
whatever. So he's like the bigger guy in this story, and this whole thing that like was centered around was the Stephen King book being released. Yeah. And so in the books, honestly, they made it seem a lot more amped up and a lot more dramatic, the way that it all kind of unfolded. Because I think they talk about this like stupid Stephen King release over like 2 chapters. Yeah,
like he was coming up. He was coming up.
And you're like, oh, like he's in the basement, like. And like even in like you can hear his internal dialogue, Joe, like in the book where he says like, I'm not sure what to do. There's going to be books that are going to be packed downstairs. Like if somebody he was worried and he's like he couldn't leave the register, and if he doesn't leave the register, then like Ethan can go down.
Who's going to grab the books? Yeah.
Exactly, which is what happens kind of in this episode. So they all crunch it into one episode where he's at the register. Ethan, he's like, Ethan, can you go? Just take the register. He's like, no, I'm on the phone right now, but don't worry, like Paco just took your keys. He's gonna go downstairs. So literally there's like a moment where Paco is the one who actually is like about to make his way downstairs. And he doesn't, like right away he doesn't get down there, and he like screams at him. Joe screams at him, and then he like throws him upstairs. He's like, why did you do that? Whatever. So what do you think of Paco being this like random person who's kind of inserted in the story here and there, and what do you think his greater purpose is? I think
his greater purpose is to just sort of be a reflection of Joe's like humanity, and like probably a little bit of Joe as a child. I don't really see anything bigger than that.
Right.
I can't imagine. I know that the dad, like the stepdad who was a parole officer, was suspicious of Joe from the beginning.
Right.
So if that might come into play later on to be like he might rat him out in some way, or like
he
tell someone, or he kills him, or whatever happens. I don't know, but like I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, I can't imagine him having to kill Paco because that'd be
really dark.
Like
that's stupid.
But you know, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Then we can talk about the Salinger party, which I think is like the big storyline in this. Yeah,
it's the biggest moment because also like she's known him for like a second and she's already like taking him to like her friends.
Right. So I don't know if we talked about this already. Like I have such short-term memory, but they do have the first date.
Yeah. They have their first date, but it comes short because Peach calls her and she's like, yo, like Benji's legit MIA, like let's go find him, like whatever. And like so then like Beck leaves.
Becca's like, I done told you that though, like I was the one that was worried. But in the book even it shows that dynamic where like Peach doesn't think anything's important until she thinks it's important. Of course it's important. So and in the books also you have to remember they don't talk about it in the show, but Peach and Benji are like related somehow, or their families know each other well. Yeah. So that's why she's like hella concerned, like she starts crying and stuff.
Oh, I don't remember that. Yeah.
So, and then that's how that's how Beck knows Benji through Peach.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so while this is all happening, Joe has a conversation with Benji, and Benji's like freaking out. He's like losing his mind. He's also tweaking because he finds the drugs and he's off his drugs. So he kind of gives him hits, and he in the book, there's this long process of him quizzing him and trying to like figure him out and trying to make him like a better person. So he forces him to like read books and then he quizzes them questions, on him. And like
they don't really show too much of that, which I was actually glad that they didn't.
Yeah, because in the book I remember being like, oh, shut up.
But one of the big things that he does question Benji on is that like he brings 3 cups and he's like, one of them is your like so and so like soda, like the best soda ever in the world that you claim. So tell me which one it is. And of course Benji has no idea,
which I loved it in the book actually more than I loved it here, because I think that they paced it out really really fast. In the book I was like, ooh. It
was more dramatic, right?
It's like very dramatic, because he was like, I need a palate cleanser, like I can't do this, and Joel's just like, get through it, like just do it.
It happens really fast.
So he decides to do it, and then he
drinks all of them. He's like, they're all shit, they're not mine. He's like, actually they're all yours. So
he's like,
it's just further proving the point, like these people are just like facades, like they're all fake, like
they're facades of themselves
like trying to be something else. And I love that Joe tries to prove that, like I love that he needs to get that out of Benji to admit, but also like, you're crazy.
He truly is like the mirror to society, being like, you guys are fake assholes, like who are you? And Benji like freaks out.
And Benji just freaks out. He's like, you're doing this all because of Beck, like what the F, like you can have her, I don't even want her, she's a loser too, whatever.
So then he goes to the party at that point.
He goes to the party.
He's like, F you, I'm leaving.
He's like, well, she invited me to the party.
She invited me. And he does try to say to Joe, like, listen, if this is all about Beck, like, you can have her. I'm over her. I don't like her. I just have to let you know that, like, she's a loser. She's a user. She used me. She's just a gold digger. And this just makes Joe even more enraged, because he's obviously very protective. Because he wants to prove him wrong, right?
Beck.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a moment at one point in time where it shows Joe as a kid reading a book. And so this is all at the Salinger party, I think. So let's talk about this Peach Salinger party. So she has this party, and right away Beck comes in with Joe, and Joe's like super happy or whatever. I guess he's like, I guess I'm meeting your friends. And even Benji before the party, he says, she's just showing you up to like show a little bit more texture to her life. Like she's not just like a loser.
She's a writer, so of course she would do that.
She wants to add like an extra person to her thing. Like you're nothing to her. You're just like a texture. So he was like, no, that's not true. So he gets to this party, and I'm sure that like incepted his mind a little bit. He was like, I don't know.
Well, of course, even the way she acted, she was like, that's what I mean. Like she's not. There's nothing likable right about her. Like she gets there to the party, she literally like leaves him right from the beginning. She's like, oh, I'm just gonna like here, like, and like and this poor guy's just like alone at this party and like doesn't know anyone around. So like, why would you do like? She's just so selfish.
Yeah. And so Peach, so Peach meets
finally
him first, like face to face for the first time, and she calls him Joseph, which is I love this dynamic between them, and I think the book does it justice as well. The writing.
She's like the Blair to his Dan, for sure.
For sure, she's like, oh, this must be Joseph, and he's like, it's just Joe. I'm like, first of all, who just is called Joe?
Yeah.
Like who? And she's like, okay, Joseph, like, where did you go to school? And he's like, I didn't go to school. So you kind of learn that he's like not educated as she is. Like, she's like, all these brown people are, you know, like they're harmless. Like, don't worry about them. And
he was like, huh? Brown people?
I know. I thought that she was like being racist. I'm
she's like, the school?
She's like, the school. And it's very much that
he just
like
doesn't
college,
belong in that world.
like adult, like, you know, adult life and whatever.
He just doesn't belong in that world. And it's very obvious.
And so he ends up in the library, obviously.
Yeah, like her parents' library.
And he sees all these like amazing books, like these old school books, and that's what triggers one of his memories, where he's in the glass box with Mr. Moody, and he says like, this is a collector item, but if you read, like if you have all 3, it's like worth even more money. And so Mr. Moody's like, did you read all of them? And he's like, I only read like the first one. And then he like slaps him, and then he throws him in, like he pushes him into the box, and he locks him in there. And in the book, I think he's in there for like 2 weeks or something crazy. Like Mr. Moody's clearly like a masochist, and he's very, very abusive to Joe.
For sure.
And Joe doesn't like, he every single time you hear him talk about Mr. Moody's like, he's a piece of shit. He's a loser.
Yeah.
I hate him. But anyway, but at the same time he loves him because he taught him how to like love books. So he sees the same book in her like her library, and he was like, and then she comes in at that point, and she was like, hey, who are you? And so it's just a very interesting piece of interaction with them, because I just felt like she questions him.
Yeah. She questions him too. She goes, "You just happened to meet my friend in a bookstore?"
Yeah.
And then like 2 days later, like you like caught her on the tracks. Like, how is that possible? Like you're in Greenpoint too. Yeah. It's like, yeah. She's like, okay. Yeah. Like, cause she's crazy too. So like, crazy knows crazy.
Exactly. So she's like starting to book him too, and he's like, "Yep, that is me too." And anyway, so. And that moment she was like, it's speech time. So she's still that person, but at the same time she's still very, very like on to him. Yeah. So you can already tell by episode 2 she's like, what's happening here? So then it cuts to...
Then he goes downstairs, and then he sees Beck with, like, a random guy. And he's like, wow, you already, like, replaced Benji with this guy.
Like the next Benji 2.0.
Yeah, and then he gets you, so he goes back upstairs to, like, the deck or, like, the patio or something. Yeah. And then she comes up there and finds him.
Yeah.
And they have, like, a moment on the balcony.
They have a moment, and he essentially does try to continue to encourage her, which that's why I kind of like him. In this moment, he's quite endearing. He encourages her to be a better version of herself. Yeah. Which I think is always a great quality to have, you know? Even though you're not obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he's saying like be a better person. Way. So he says to her, because I think she's having issues. She admits that she's having issues at school, which we'll talk about in a second. She's having issues with school. She's not able to make enough money and this and this. And he's like, you know, you have to know when to like show your teeth. And he's like, I think you have sharp teeth, you just need to show them. And so she's like, okay, true. She's
like, thanks, you're the best friend that I ever didn't have.
And then it was so funny because like music. In the show it's like friend, he's like, no,
it's like my best friend. The music's like he's like,
yeah, it's literally...
So yeah, it was like the biggest friend zone ever.
Yeah, for sure. So he leaves the party feeling like, damn, I'm so cheesed about this. But as they're leaving, he bumps into somebody special.
So he's about to leave, and this girl's like,
Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie's like, Joe? And then he's like, who? And then she's like, wait. She's like, you're she's like, I'm Candace's friend, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can see him like start to sketch out.
He's like,
but like Beck's behind him, and Beck's like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you guys just like broke up. And then Joe's like, yeah, LOL. She just like went to Europe to like go to her next guy, I guess.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, but she did pretty fast though. Like that's kind of weird.
Right.
And like definitely this girl is onto him. Like she's like, you did something shady. Yeah. And then Beck just kind of loops it and she's like, oh, my Uber's here. Like we gotta go. Sorry, bye.
And it's funny that I don't know if we mentioned it in the podcast, but she does have a specific stare at Beck at one point.
Who?
Maddie. So she says like, oh, you're like, she kind of books that they're together, and like she, like I'm assuming it's because like she looks very similar to Candace, right?
Yeah.
Because like we know now that like Joe has a type.
And like I said in the first episode, guys, they did cast Candace's role, and she's supposed to be in one episode. So we are gonna see like possibly a flashback or whatever. It could be the present. Wink, wink. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens after that? So
then they leave. They get into the cab.
Right. And he's cheese. So he's like sad because he's like
friend zoned.
I'm friend zoned now. But before we continue on with that story, let's talk really quickly about
the professor.
The professor. So throughout the episode, obviously you saw in episode 1 a little inkling of it. He's like gonna sexually harass like Beck, right? Like essentially.
Yeah.
And so
basically he's like, let's go out for drinks. I want to have dinner with you. She's like, all right, like cool, I guess. Yeah. And then while they're out for dinner or for a drink, he like grabs her leg under the table, like so fucked up. Like fine, like go have drinks, like maybe invite her over after, but like why are you grabbing her leg? Like this is the thing. Like,
and what he says to her is that level? So next level, because this is the thing. I don't think this is exactly how it plays out in the book, because like we said, there are some of these moments that we don't see because it's all in Joe's perspective. So whether or not we read it in a text or an email that she's telling her friends,
I feel like he wasn't passing in the emails with the girls in the book,
because I do know that she was in trouble with her money. I don't think this whole TA, anyway, whatever, like it doesn't matter, but so
basically what happens is like if she loses the TA position, she'll lose like her nice apartment, her housing, so she can't lose it.
Yeah. So she tries to like do it, but at the same time she doesn't want to She doesn't want to effing like screw this guy.
Well, yeah.
She's like,
and so what happens is when he grabs her leg, she's like, "Oh, like, I'm dying." And then he's like, "What? Didn't you want it? Da da da. Whatever."
It's really messed up what he says because it's very much like the #MeToo
of
whole
course,
situation.
It has everything to do with that.
And I wonder
thing.
if they did it like they wrote it in there for that reason.
I think they accentuated it more because of that.
Yeah,
100%.
Because he says it, he turns it around on her so fast, and it's very terrifying to see him use his power that way.
I think after the dinner thing, she goes to his office, right?
Yeah, but before he goes to his office, he essentially says to her, "You are you were wearing like a see-through shirt. You came here with like a dress on. Yeah. Like you basically you've been wearing were begging for it.
You're like he's like I can see your nipples like every day
classic,
all day.
Which is like the classic effed up like reasoning that these like assholes actually say to women. Which I thought was very interesting. So anyway, she's upset. She ends up calling Joe, and Joe's literally like been in the bar this whole time. So he has to like pretend to like leave because his phone
rings like two feet away from her. Right.
So she like pretends to leave the bar, and she's like, "Are you in this area? Like let's chill." And then he's
like, "Yeah, I'll be right there in like 1 second."
Like because I'm right here, I'm right behind you. So he shows up, and he just consoles her, and it makes her feel better about everything. And this is before the whole Salinger party too. So that happens, and then
let's just talk about her interaction with him. So the interaction. In the office.
So that happens after the Salinger party. After he like glows
her up and says like show your teeth, girl.
Show your teeth.
She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that."
Oh, I'm gonna do that though. So she goes into the office and she was like, "I really need this position."
Okay, real talk. When she closed the door.
Oh, I knew that. I thought something completely different.
Yeah, when she closed the door, and I know they were trying to do that on purpose. Like when she closed the door, I was like, "Oh man, she's gonna fuck him right now."
She was like, "I only have one more option." I'm like, "I do not remember this in the book."
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, this is a big curveball right now."
This is a different story.
But she closes the door and she's basically like, "Listen, you asshole." Yeah. She's like, "I have like reports of all these other girls who have the same thing to say about you." She's like, "I will blast you on Twitter."
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever it is. She's like, "I'm gonna expose you for who you are."
Right.
And then what does he say? He's like, "I'm not scared of you. You can't do anything."
And then she's like, "I'm gonna call your bluff, bitch, and you're gonna pay for my rent."
Yeah. She basically like she signed up for herself. Yeah. And then
and
that's
he's like,
all good.
"Oh damn."
Yeah.
And so she gets so lit about it that the next day, while Joe is moping in the
because he was still friend zoned.
He's sad about this whole situation. She comes in, and she's like, "Thank you so much for all your help. I figured out the whole situation. I don't have to I told like the professor off or whatever. Now I have my housing and I don't have to take." Peach gives her a check earlier on, and now she can rip it up and she doesn't have to use it. She doesn't have to cash it in. So she's feeling good. She's so happy that she buys him a donut and she kisses him.
Gives him a kiss.
What did you think of that moment?
It was cute. It was actually really.
You're
cute.
Happy? Like rooting for.
I mean, I wasn't happy, but like, I mean, whatever. I don't care. But
what's their ship name? Is it Jack?
Oh my god.
Is it Bo?
I don't know.
You're like,
I don't know if they deserve a ship name. But I think it was really cute. I think their chemistry is super cute. Like I think the actors they work well together. Yeah. No, it was cute. It was a cute moment.
It was like 2 seconds away.
And like he was so happy.
That Instagram like filter was like
yeah.
Like it was such like a very nice like.
It was cute. She grabbed him across the counter and she kissed him.
And he was like, "Come here." I was like, "That's so."
Yeah,
Cute.
No, he was really cute. He's really cute. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like he's Dan Humphries. Like he has experience with this.
He's like Blake Lively.
Like he kissed Blake and the other girl from the other side of the tracks. Like he done kissed everyone.
So anyway, he's
just cute. About this. Yeah, and he's so excited.
So then the whole show ends off with him going back downstairs.
Right.
Before this whole thing happens, one thing that we did miss, I think it's in between him getting back from the party. Benji like goes bananas in the basement.
In the room, yeah.
He rips up all those books, which I'm like, that could be a lot of shmoney.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, wow, that's like invaluable books.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Mr. Moody gonna be pissed. But also he just like freaks out. He's like, you left me in here to die. Like you're. And so I
think
crazy.
like the air was off because I think like at certain points he turns the air on. Oh. Okay. So I guess like there was no like normal air in there as well. Right. He's like, you're trying to kill me, whatever.
But also as he's having that moment with him, this is before, like I said, this is before she kisses him, and he thinks he's being friend zoned. He does admit to Joe, like, you know, you like made me think about a lot of things. Like, you're right. I'm a loser. I'm nothing. He starts to kind of turn a corner with Joe, and there is a moment in the episode where you probably assume that maybe he's gonna get out, right?
Yeah.
So he says like, I'll tell you everything about me, and you're gonna tell me everything about you, and like we'll be
and I'll be good, yeah,
and we'll be okay, and like you can let me out of here.
Yeah.
So he ends up giving him a flash drive, which shows Benji essentially
like Benji
hazing
crime.
someone.
Yeah.
He hazes somebody, but he hazes him so hard that like he drowns in a pool and he dies. So Joe's like, oh, okay, so now I have some evidence against him. Like if he ever like tries to come for me, like I can expose him and whatever. But that's before the party.
Yeah.
And so he thinks he's still trying to contemplate. And the one thing that you have to remember is in this story, he does try to accentuate the fact that he is not a born killer. He's not a serial killer by any means. He is someone who has sociopathic and psychopathic tendencies, but he does say like, I'm not here to kill you. Like he says it to Benji all the time. He's like, what am I going to do with you? Yes. He even says it a lot in the book. He calls to Beck. He's like, Beck, what am I going to do with Benji?
Yeah.
Like he's still actually very conflicted as to what to do with him up until the very end of this episode. But essentially, once he gets the kiss from Beck, first he feels all moping. He's like, I guess I'm just going to have to like let this Benji ass go. But I think once he gets that kiss from Beck, he's like, you know what? No. He talks shit about my girl. He's wrong. He's dead ass wrong about her. I guess I'm going to have to kill him.
He deserves to die.
Yeah. So he goes in and he's like in such a lit mood. He brings him a latte. And then Benji's like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
He's like, thank you, bro. I love my latte with
He's like, latte with like stevia. And I'm like, oh God, I can't with him. So he drinks it. He's so excited. And Joe's like, listen, I love you. You're
I
cool
love you.
guy. I saw you grow in this box. Like, so cool, whatever.
He's like, I have your thumb dry forever now.
Yeah. And then he's like, but
I also put some peanut butter in your latte.
Yeah.
And you go that out. Yeah. And then he like has an allergy. Because he was like, I thought you lied about your allergy too, but clearly you didn't.
You didn't.
You did.
Yeah. So he dead. And also while this whole episode's going on, he uses his phone to show that Benji is like been going on like tweeting, a drug binge.
Yeah. That's what she's
like, drugs are my life or whatever. Yeah. Which people already assume of Benji because he's like a loser.
Right.
So he takes some final pictures, I think, and then he's like, then he takes the phone and then he hides it away. So Benji's dead.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Benji. And then it shows Joe put the phone up in the top hole area of his bathroom, which is where he told Paco to hide his book too. Yeah. Which is like weird.
Like
whatever.
You need a hiding place, I guess.
Yeah. The one thing that I thought was different, and I don't know about you, but in the book, it made it sound as if the book was the hole was like a hole in the wall that he was covering with a poster.
Oh, but I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember it like being like something in a ceiling. So, because just as a quick spoiler, that hole is gonna obviously become like a hiding place that you're gonna have to pay attention to.
I thought the hole in the wall was at Beck's place.
No, it's at his place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I thought too. It was a hole in the wall.
So I guess they
did. Yeah, you're right. Behind a poster.
Yeah. So I guess this is different. Like they're making like the bathroom tile.
Maybe he has two different holes.
Stop.
No, maybe he has like that and another thing.
Sure.
No, it has to be.
No, that's what I mean.
That's so random. Why would he use the bathroom freaking ceiling?
I don't know. So yeah, because Paco, he tells him to like hide the Frankenstein book in there too. Or like the very rare book in there too. So yeah, I think that's so just keep an eye on that, guys. That's gonna be it's gonna play a major role as the season goes on. Like his little hiding place. But yeah, he hides Benji's phone up there, which is the stupidest idea ever. But I think it's something that a lot of psychopaths do. Like they like keep memorabilia of their murders. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. Totally. Like you said, what do you think of the whole thing? Thought it was good?
No,
enjoyable?
I really liked it. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Like, I can't believe Benji's already dead by episode 2. Like, that's fast.
Yeah. It's totally, it was like, whoa.
Because now they have to focus on them as a couple and, like, really get you into their dynamic, you know?
Let's get into our recap roundups.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment was, there wasn't really any big ones, but aside from the one that you're going to say, but I I think when Maddie books him coming down the stairs and she's like, wait, she's like, Joe? I was like, like, I totally forgot about her as a character, even in the book.
Yeah.
And I love when those things happen because I'm like, true.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna be a big key player.
Yeah.
And there I was staring at Beck's face, like the actress staring at her face the whole time to be like, what is she thinking about this interaction? Like, you know, is she thinking that he's sketch? And like, she doesn't really.
Or is she thinking that he's like more of a hot commodity?
Yeah, like, yeah, that's exactly how she saw him. She's like, ooh, he dated someone else here? Like, that's sick.
Yeah, he's like, he's not gay.
What a loser.
My best moment is going to be the kiss, because I feel like that is sealing the destructive and poisonous relationship that we're going to see unfold as the season goes on. Them kissing and like having that sexual interaction, because guys, things are going to get lit.
Like it's going to get like
heated.
Yeah. WTF moment.
So my WTF moment is when Joe gets downstairs and all the books are ruined. I know that it's
wow, you feel some type of way about that.
Some type of way. The first thing I thought was like, those are rare ass books and you just ripped them all up, you piece of shit. Like, you're such a jerk. Which is, I guess, symbolic of how the new generation is destroying history. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like there must be
or like he doesn't have no regard for it.
He has no regard for it. He's just like a terror, and he just cares about himself. And he's like, you left me in here. There's so much commentary when you really think about how this has all been positioned. There's so much commentary about society and how it's.
Oh,
really,
for
really
sure, of course.
So, yeah, I was more just concerned about the books in that moment. So yeah, WTF, Benji, relax.
My WTF moment, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give you two. One, it was when reading the book. This whole having access to her phone to me was like, what the F? Like, are you kidding me? True. Like, it was so easy. And another thing, what I'll say was that in the books, he had access to only her emails. Like, who the F emails their like best girlfriends? Like, I talk on iMessage. Like, ain't nobody sending emails to their best friends.
I think he even says it in the book. He's like, oh, I'm so glad that you're so lit on your emails. Like,
because like, who uses emails to talk about daily things? Yeah. You don't do that. Like,
I guess like she could have used WhatsApp, but she couldn't like say like, or not WhatsApp. She could have said like iCloud or something, or like Apple.
I think
iMessage.
He does say like, thank God for the cloud.
Yeah.
Like, to make it all make sense.
But even iMessage, like, you can connect that shit to your computer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's on a device. He's not like. Anyways, I'm not even gonna get into like the Apple logistics. Yeah. But I think my other one was definitely Benji like dying, and not necessarily dying because like I knew he was gonna die, but like I forgot. I'm forgetting how he cleans up the body, like how he's gonna get rid of the body. Right, I don't remember that.
I totally forgot how that works.
Yeah,
I think it happens
the aftermath.
Anyway, we'll find out next episode.
I'm just
sure,
like, what?
He's gonna be like, what I gotta do now.
Yeah. MVP. My MVP, I'm gonna say Maddie, because I feel like in all of that party, everyone being in their own world, like she books him right quick.
Right.
And right away called him out and was like, yeah, that was kind of weird that my friend like just dipped though, right?
Yeah. Like so, right in the middle of the whole party. Yeah, that's true. My MVP, I think, is gonna be Peach.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because I like love Shay Mitchell. I think she looks gorgeous.
Yeah, she looks amazing. Did you ever picture Peach to be this beautiful? Because I definitely didn't.
Yes,
I didn't.
Yeah. I remember like when I was reading the book, I was like, she must be like very attractive. Like, I thought that she was gonna be like super like uber duper thin, skinny, like kind of a little bit nerdy maybe, but also like very beautiful.
Oh.
But I love Shay Mitchell.
I love Shay Mitchell.
I think she's perfect for this role.
She brings this like fire to the show. I don't know. She brings like an energy to the show. Like, her lines are hilarious.
Yeah. And I love Peach in this episode. I love the fact that she moved forward and she ran right into her best friend and was like, who's this man? Yeah. Just like anybody I think would. Like, an overprotective best friend would be like, what's your story? Tell me everything. You try to pop the holes in like how they met. Yeah. Like, she's in there. She's doing work like, right from the get-go because she knows something's up. And I just think, and then also she's like low-key obsessed with Beck.
I was gonna say like it's
so it's like also her own personal gain, but at the same time she's very much like protective of her friend. And I think that watching their interaction for the first time in this episode, you're like, oh, she's onto him for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm like down for her to like be the investigator and like try to like figure this all out. LVP. Who's your LVP?
My LVP, I don't know. I feel like maybe the professor, because he's a loser.
Hated him.
This show is filled up with a lot of losers, I feel like, including Joe and Beck. So I don't really know. I don't know who I would choose as like the LVP.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You can go with that.
Yeah.
I think my LVP is gonna be Paco because I'm just like, what are you doing?
I mean, this poor kid. Here? Why are you putting so much pressure on Paco? Like what? Like he's just like a little kid.
I just don't.
You're putting so much gain on him. Like
I just don't like him as a character. I just don't know why he's.
Dude,
there.
he's a little kid. Like he needs his help. Like, you're analyzing him so much. He almost went
downstairs and after everything.
Yeah, like he's not activated. That's for sure.
Anyway, I'm not a fan of his character. I don't know what his purpose is, to be honest. Other than what you said.
His purpose is
put it to the child.
He's an 8-year-old child. What is his purpose gonna be? Like to spy on Joe? Like find out Joe's whole thing? No, he's an 8-year-old kid.
Anyway, we'll see.
With abusive parents. The best line. My best line is nothing.
You don't have a best line?
No, I don't have a best line.
I think there's a lot of great lines in this, but the one that I took away was when he's moping in the bookstore right before Beck comes in at the very end of the episode. He says, "It's crazy how easy it is to kill a spark. It's almost a miracle like love even exists."
Oh, I love that. I did love that one.
Which is like very true when you really think about it. It's so easy for people to be turned off by someone and like be friend zoned.
It's so quick these days to just be like, no, I'm done now.
Yeah.
Like I'm either gonna ghost you or like whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember.
And
I like that line.
I think that line is very powerful, especially in this day and age. I thought it was like really cool for him to say it, and the fact that he gets a little mopey because even though he's like this big person who like loves love and like wants to be in love,
of course,
he also realizes how fragile it
yeah.
is, and realizes that like, you know, this was a moment where he was like, I'm not happy now. Like love is not real. So
yeah, for sure, that was really cute.
Yeah. That is the episode, guys.
That's it.
Let us know what you guys are thinking about this so far. We're gonna keep going. And
we're gonna keep going. Oh yeah, we're gonna keep going
and doing this. I'm pretty amped about this series so far. I'm really glad that it got the second season. Let us know what you guys are thinking right now. How are you guys feeling about the series so far? Yeah, that's it.
That's it, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.